All right, you ready? All right, let's do this. So, excited. First of all, I want to congratulate you for coming in earlier. Thank you for coming in early. I know it was an invitation, not an obligation, but anytime that you're involved in anything where there's a mentor who's willing to give you more of their time voluntarily, it's always a good idea to take advantage of it, right? So anytime a professor says, hey, look, this is completely voluntary, but I would do it, right? Because it just allows you to accelerate and get yourself ahead of other people. There's a lot of people that talk the talk, but when it comes to walking the walk, it's those that go above and beyond that tend to accelerate and separate themselves from the rest of the crowd. For me, that really hit home when I was in college. My freshman year, I had a professor. His name was Dr. Tershi, and he was a really tough professor. He taught intro to econ at Chapel Hill, but he was so notoriously tough that the year after I took him, he ended up getting put on academic probation because of how tough he was, right? But I ended up learning so much from him that I didn't have to study for another single econ class until I ended up taking him again my senior year in college and got all A's in every single one of the classes that I took. So, even though he was tough, he wasn't easy on me. I learned more from him than any other professor that I had at Chapel Hill. And one of the things that stuck with me about him is this was a 400-person lecture class. Do you have those at State, Simon? Some of those big auditorium classes? Yeah, that's what this was. And right before our big exam, the day before, he said, hey, we got this voluntary study session. It's Tuesday night from 7 to 9 o'clock. And at Chapel Hill, Tuesday night is a big deal, right? Like everybody goes out. There's every restaurant has food specials, like 25-cent wing night. There was all the bars have drink specials. There's karaoke night, 80s night. I mean, it's one of the nights that everybody tends to go hang out. So as soon as he mentioned that it was Tuesday night, most people are like, yeah, forget it, I'm not going back. And so we ended up showing up, and there was only about I think out of everybody that was in the class, about 35 of us that actually showed up for the study session. And it ended up going, instead of 2 hours, it went 3 hours. And so we got out super late. And after I left that session, I still had a lot of questions, but I felt a lot better about going into the test. Well, here's what was kind of cool. The next day when we went and took the test, he passed out the test. He said, everybody, good luck. But for those of you who came in a little bit early, I think you'll think it's worth your time, right? And for those that came last night. So he passed out the test, and damn if it wasn't the same questions that we had gone over the night before. So if you had gone there, the numbers were a little different, but the same format, same formula that we walked through was all right there for us. And so we all got really good grades, and we ended up setting the curve really high. So because of that, nobody else's grades were curved, and several people struggled, several people failed. But for those that went above and beyond, we ended up excelling and really doing well with it. And he ended up helping me be able to know all of my economics well enough so that I didn't have to study for another single one of his classes, or another single econ class, until I took him again my senior year. So taking advantage of the extra time is a good thing, is what I'm saying, right? And so I want to talk about how to have a 10 to 15K fast start. And before I get into the hows, I really want to walk through the whys, okay? Because what I found is if the why is strong enough, the how tends to figure itself out, right? And there's a will, there's a way type thing, right? And so what would be some of the reasons why you think it makes sense to go hard and try to get to 10 or 15K? What would be one perk? Think about it. What's one easy one? When you do 10K, what are you gonna make? Money, right? You make a lot of money, right? In fact, you do 10K, you're gonna make between $2,000 and $3,500 in income in 10 days, right? I mean, to give you an idea, have you ever had a job in the past? Yeah. What were they paying you? How much an hour?
Like $7.50 minimum wage.
Okay, so $7.50, right? So to give you an example of, even if you're making $10 an hour, to make $2,000 in 10 days, you'd have to work 200 hours in 10 days. 200 hours in 10 days means you're working 20 hours a day. So that means literally you're probably sleeping at the place of work waking up to work, falling asleep at the job, right? There's only a couple people on the planet that do that. Those are usually called doctors, right? And they do that during some of their big clinicals that they have to do, where they'll pull like 18-hour shifts and then they'll sleep for like 4 or 5 hours and then get right back at it after that. And they actually have little beds at the hospital they sleep at, So kind of impossible to do at a normal job, right? Well, here's what's cool. Here, you don't have to work 20-hour days in order to make $2 grand. We'll show you what it takes here in a little bit. You do have to work hard, but it certainly isn't 20 hours a day, right? But that is one perk. Okay. The second perk is you actually hit 4 promotions in 2 weeks. Right? And imagine how awesome that looks to an employer. We talked about this yesterday, but the average job, it takes you, roughly 6 months to a year to get a pay raise, right? So to be able to hit 4 in a couple weeks looks really strong. And here's what's cool. Sometimes just by going for this, even if you don't hit 10, you still hit like 2 or 3. So it's worth it to go after it because of all the extra promotions that you earn. And when you get to that level at 30%, you can work super part-time, but still make full-time income. And here's what's great. I mean, you could literally do 5 appointments for the week. 5 appointments, you'll usually make about 3 or 4 sales times 400. You're making 1,200 in sales, which at 30% is $360 in income. So you'd make more working 5 appointments a week here than you'd working full time at another job on campus, right? That's making the type of income that your other friends make every 2 or 3 weeks, right? And we actually do have some people that do that. They're like, you know what? They pick 2 weekends a month that they work hard and then they chill and focus on school, friends, relationships, stuff like that, because they have the extra time and they have the money saved up that they need to, right? So now, the way that I was kind of wired is I figured, you know what? I'm just going to stay consistent with it. I'm just going to do my normal 5 appointments at least a week. So that way I'm making at least $360 every week. So that's another good reason is the promotions that you can earn. The third reason why people work hard and go for 10 or 15K is all the prizes. Right? And the prizes that you get for doing 10 to 15K are ridiculous, right? You win over $1,000 for the free stuff. You win VIP night, which VIP night is amazing, right? Whenever we do it up big, right? So we've done it in Buckhead before. We've done VIP nights there where, have you ever been out in Buckhead at all? Okay, so there's restaurants there called Gypsy Kitchen and Southern Gentleman and all these other really cool kind of hip spots right down in the heart of Buckhead that have amazing skyline views where you can go out, kind of mix and mingle with the social elite, right? Have you ever heard of Spanx at all? So it's a women's clothing company. So the headquarters of Spanx is right by one of the places that we'll do for VIP night. The woman that created Spanx is a billionaire. She's one of the first self-made billionaires and first women self-made billionaires, right? And she actually has her corporate headquarters right in the same place because it's so beautiful. So that's one place we'll do it. We've done it in Charleston, South Carolina before. We've done it in Athens, Georgia, where there when we do VIP night, we basically take over the whole town, right? We do it up real big there. So that's pretty cool. It's 10K. If you do 15K, not only do you get the $1,000 worth of free stuff, not only do you win the VIP night, but you also win the regional incentive trip. And they haven't announced where the location is yet, but if the last 5 years have taught me anything, it's that every time the region does an incentive payoff trip, it's pretty epic. It's all inclusive. It's somewhere tropical, which is always kind of nice, especially as the weather starts to get a little chilly. It's nice to be able to go somewhere where it's like 85 and sunny. It's everything is paid for: transportation, airfare. The only thing you're paying for is sunscreen and souvenirs. So if you don't care about having sunscreen, getting a little suntan, then you're good to go. All you're buying is a couple souvenirs, right? So the prizes are pretty ridiculous. That's another reason why people work really hard for 10 to 15K in the fast start. And then the fourth reason why people work so hard to do 10 to 15K is because when somebody gets to 10 to 15K, they also get an interview to be a part of our Leadership Academy program. And that is for those that really aspire for bigger things, right? So, what's up, brother? You know, and so, you know, for our Leadership Academy program, that's where our future assistant managers come from. All these individuals back here, you know, they were part of our Leadership Academy program. You know, our average assistant manager here in this office over the summer makes over $10,000. So it's kind of cool, right? You know, working hard for a couple weeks to set yourself up to potentially earn that over the course of the summer, right? And so the income is pretty fantastic there, but more importantly is the personal growth. You know, this is where we teach people how to be leaders, right? So no matter what field somebody chooses to go into, they can excel in that field. It's the concept of being a 5-star recruit. I know you mentioned your boyfriend plays football, right? You know, and are you familiar with football and sports and all? Cool. So in the sporting world, in the recruiting world, there's something called a 5-star recruit. You guys know what that means at all?
The best of the team.
Best of the best, right? It's the football players that every single school wants to recruit, right? Alabama wants them, Clemson wants them, UGA wants them. Every single football team, Ohio State, Michigan, right? All of the colleges want them to come work with them or come play for them, right? Well, what we do for our Leadership Academy program is we help our students, we help our representatives become 5-star recruits in their field. So meaning if you're a marketing major, when you graduate, every marketing firm wants you to come work for them, right? You know, if somebody's going to med school, every single hospital wants them to come work for them. Somebody's going to law school, every law firm is knocking on their door, trying to get them in as an intern. You know, one of our individuals this past summer that got accepted into our Leadership Academy program ended up getting an internship this summer with Goldman Sachs, one of the premier financial institutions in the world. You know, and he said the thing that separated him in his interview process wasn't the school he went to, it wasn't the fact that he was a student athlete, it was the fact that he had this on his resume, and he had the communication skills, the experience, some of the things that he learned working with us in a short window. He only worked for 4 months with us, but in 4 months he learned enough that helped separate him from all the other applicants, including people that had better GPAs than he did. You know, so that goes, you know, a long way. So, you know, once somebody does 10K, they automatically get an interview for our Leadership Academy program. So, so that's another big reason. So now that you got the whys, let's talk about the how a little bit, right? And the how is it's simple, but it's not easy. Does that make sense? I mean, if you follow this program, if you follow this formula, you can make it happen. It's not easy, but it is simple, right? So let me show you what I'm talking about. The first thing that it takes is understanding it's a numbers game. And what I mean by a numbers game is it's all about appointments and phone calls. Okay. And and when it comes to appointments, the key there is at a minimum, if you want to give yourself a shot to do 10K, you got to do 20 appointments. Okay, so it takes 20 appointments minimum to do 10K. I've had people do it in less. And as of last count, I think we were at 47 people that I've trained that have sold over 10K in their fast start. Okay, so I've had people do it in less than 20, but to give yourself a real shot, you got to do at least 20, I think, right? Because otherwise you're needing a little bit of luck, right? One example of somebody who did that was Jack Green. So Jack Green did right over 20 appointments in his fast start. He had a really high closing percentage, and he had like a $400 or $500 average order. So he made a sale on almost, I think he may have had one no sale his first 10 days, you know, but you know, he had like a $400 or $500 average order, and you know, his last day he got a couple of phone orders to put him over the top, right? So so you need at least 20 appointments, right? If you want to guarantee it, you got to shoot for 40, right? So 40 guarantees that you'll do 10K. I've never had somebody do 40 appointments in their first 10 days sell less than 10. Okay. And I've had people sell way more. In fact, the top fast starter I've ever had was a young lady named Jasmine Hayter. Jasmine sold $21,189 her first 10 days. So at 19, she made $5,000 in 10 days. And her goal was, she said, you know what, if I'm going to shoot for 10, I might as well go for 15, you know? And so she said, what's that going to take? And I'm like, well, realistically, you probably need to do 50 appointments. So 5 a day. And so she shot for 5 appointments a day. And so any day she didn't have 5, she just did an extra one the other day. Right? And here's the deal. I know that you guys have different things going on, so don't feel like you have to do this. Otherwise, you're failing at the job. You know, you could be successful without doing 10K, but if you want to make sure you do 10K, this is kind of the deal, right? You know, is shooting for 40, okay? Which is basically just 4 a day. So, so if you think about it, you know, right now I know you got 6 appointments, right? So what that means is over the next 10 days, you would just need to do 3 more or book up 3 additional appointments each day, right? Because you have 10 days left. So if you book 3 appointments today, 3 appointments tomorrow, 3 appointments. So if you just every morning you wake up and say, hey, I need to book up another 3, that'll get you 40, okay? Doesn't matter what days you book them for, right? There may be some days where you do 0, but other days you do 6 or 7, but that'll help you get it. So making the phone calls is a big part of that too, okay? And we talked yesterday about the 10-80-10 rule, remember? Right? It's kind of funny how that works, you know, and Morgan, you were in that situation where you were the 10% where nobody was picking up, right? But then what happened by the time you got done with last night? They all call you back. So you ended up going from having 1 to 6, boom, just like that. You know, so so you know, if you just understand it is a numbers game, right? You know, so 80% of the time it takes 3 calls to get 1 appointment. Okay. So if you need to book up at least 3 a day, you probably need to make about 10 to 20 calls each day in order to hit your number. Now, the other key is making sure you're making calls at the right time, because there is a certain time that's better to make phone calls than others, right? You know, we talked about it. What is a terrible time to make phone calls? Friday night, right? Friday night's a terrible time to make phone calls because people are out and about, right? So let's talk about really good times to make calls. Good times to make calls are going to be Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Okay, so Monday through Friday from 8 to 9. Why is that such a good time to call adults? Not kids, but adults. What do you think? What are adults doing from 8 to 9 a.m.?
Work.
They're getting to work, right? If they work 9 to 5, they're usually either on their way to work or they're getting a little bit early, having their morning coffee, right? And I will say this, I know for a lot of students, you know, 8 to 9 in the morning, they're kind of in zombie land, right? You know, but for adults, that's the most amount of sleep they've gotten all day. Plus, if they've got kids, what's happened by 8 o'clock?
They're already in school.
Yeah, they put them to school, which means what can they do now? They get on with their life, right? So I know for you, that may be a terrible time, but for adults, that tends to be some of the happiest times they have because they've gotten through the chaos of the morning, right? Yeah, some of us forget how much work it took our parents to get us to get to school and get everything organized, make sure that lunch wasn't forgotten, right? But then once they get them down there, they can kind of breathe, they can relax, they're thinking about their day. It's a really good time to get a hold of people. And people tend to be in good moods. You guys ever heard of the singer Frank Sinatra? Really famous singer. So he had a quote, and he said that I feel sorry for people that don't drink because when they wake up, that's the happiest they are all day. Right? So why is that? What does that mean? What is that a good thing for us? Or why is that a good thing for us?
Because that's the time when they're more likely to buy or
more likely to schedule, right? If that's when people are in good moods, right? That means it's a really good time to get a hold of people, right? Okay, so that's a good time there. Now, if you have class at that time, it might be kind of tough, right? But here's another good time: Sunday through Thursday, from 7 to 9:30 p.m. Okay, why is that a good time to get a hold of people? You think?
That's when they're coming home or
they're
settling down.
Yeah. Starting to settle down. They've had dinner, right? They're kind of getting ready for the next day, right? If you think about TV shows, right? Think about the most popular TV shows. They tend to be during these hours or right after, right? You know, there's a reason why The Simpsons has been on Sunday at 8 o'clock for like 40 or 30 years or something like that, right? You know, it's one of the most popular times in the week. What other shows come on Sunday night?
Walking Dead.
Walking Dead. What else? Game of Thrones, right? Billions, Ballers, right? I mean, you name it. There's, all of really popular TV shows tend to be between the days of Sunday through Thursday, from 7 to 10, probably at the latest, right? Is the start time, and so that's a killer time to get a hold of people. Okay. And then another secret weapon for a lot of our top reps is Saturday morning from like 9:30 to 11 is a really good time to get a hold of people. And why do you think that time is so good? Why do you not want to call adults between 8 and 9 a.m. on Saturday? That might be the one day that they're sleeping in, right? Especially here in the Bible Belt, right? Because what happens Sunday morning?
They go to church.
Church, right? So that day is like their day where they're getting up and getting moving and getting the kids ready so they can get to church on time. But Saturday is kind of the one day, if they're going to sleep in, that they will sleep in a little bit, right? But you got to keep in mind, if somebody normally works Monday through Friday at either 8 or 9 in the morning, what time are they having to get up?
So,
yeah. Do any of you guys live at home with mom and dad, or during certain times of the year live at home with mom and dad? Okay. What time do they wake up? 5:30, 7?
Like 5:30.
5:30, yeah. Yeah, that's what happens when we get old, right? Because I'll tell you, when I was younger, I used to love sleeping in. Now I can't. It'd be nice. I wish I could, but I can't. And the other reason is I've got puppies. So even if I try to sleep in, by 7 o'clock, I've got my dogs waking me up. Because see, they don't get that it's the weekend, right? Tyson by 7 o'clock is like, all right, I got to go, dude. So he's like, barking at me, trying to get me up. And it's kind of an understanding that was because the guy's been with me for 11 years, that I'm the one that's going to go walk him. See, if Caitlin's there, he's not bothering her. But he knows that I'm the one that usually gets him up and goes and takes him early. So because I normally wake him earlier, if I haven't walked him by 7, he wants me up and getting after it, right? So a sleep in for me is like 8:39. Okay, so this time right here, 9:30 to 11, is great time to get a hold of people. Okay, and so you just want to plan out your schedule in such a way where you can make sure that you've got the call times available to get your demos booked. So what I want you to do is let's take a look at your schedule. So open up your schedule, go to page 20, 21, 22. And I want you to look at your entire fast start now. Okay, so if you go to the next page, okay, so you've already got this weekend mapped out. Let's go to the rest of next week. Okay, go ahead and put in everything else that you've got going on. All right. So the first thing you want to do is put everything else that you've got. So put in class, put in other obligations. If you've got doctor's appointments, put those in. And keep in mind, on Monday, we're also going to show you how to do online appointments too. So we're going to show you how to fill this schedule up, but go ahead and put in all that. Make sure to put in the Wednesday night team meeting. So the Wednesday night team meeting is going to be from 6 to 9:30 p.m. And what we'll do during the Wednesday night team meeting is we'll also help you get the rest of your fast start booked up too.
You said it's the what meeting?
The team meeting. So that's going to be your advanced training 2 and your first team meeting all kind of wrapped into one. Okay. So, so you got that in there. Then the next thing you want to do is put in all your open times. Okay. So put in all your open times and let's see how many openings you have available. And remember, try to keep some of this time open for phone time. You know, especially like that morning slot. That's a great time during your fast start. Even if you never want to ever do calls ever in the morning ever again, I'd recommend at least doing it during your fast start to make sure you can take advantage of all the prizes. Okay? But leave that 8 to 9 time in the morning open so you can make a couple calls. And then put in all your other openings. And let's go ahead and do that for the remainder of your fast start so you can kind of have a total number of available. Okay. And you should have somewhere between 20 and 40 open slots available through your first 10 days, right? Cool. So the second key, okay? Second key for going 10 to 15K in your fast start is going to be, you know, making sure that you're focusing on sets and accessories. And guys, it's always better for a customer to get a set versus getting one individual item, right? And the thing is, we know why it's better for us, right? Why is it better if they get a set versus just one item? Yeah, you make more, right? So that's good. The other thing, the more important thing though, is why it's better for them. Okay? And if you really want to sell a lot of them, you got to focus on why it's better for your customers. Okay. And why is it better for your customers? Why do you think getting a set versus an individual knife is going to be better for your customers? What could be some reasons? What would be one reason why getting a set would be better than just getting one item for a customer?
So that you have more matching.
Yeah. You get the right tool for the right job, right? Yeah, because here's the thing, guys. If somebody just gets one knife, it's going to be the sharpest knife they have. So they're probably going to use it for everything, right? Which means if they get a big old chef knife, they're going to use this from everything from chopping carrots and onions to trying to peel apples. You do not want to peel an apple with a blade this size, right? That would not be very good, right? If somebody gets a little paring knife, okay, they get a little paring knife, they're going to use this from everything from peeling apples to cutting up steak. This is going to be the sharpest knife they have, right? Do any of your families have their quote unquote good knife? Yeah, that's my mom. My mom had her quote unquote good knife. And basically what it was is it was the only knife she had that was sharp. And so because it was the only sharp knife she had, she called it a good knife, and that was what she used it for everything. Okay. So that's one reason, is they get the right tool for the right job. The other reason is they save money. Okay. See, when somebody gets a set, they save money. All of our sets have a built-in discount, and it's anywhere between 10 and 20%, depending on what set it is. So that's real savings, right? So if they get the right tool for the right job, they save money. The third reason is they actually get free stuff. Do you think people like getting stuff for free? Oh yeah. Do any of you guys like getting stuff for free? You know, have any of you ever bought something because you got something free? I know I've done that before, right? In fact, I remember one year I bought an entire year's subscription to Sports Illustrated because I got a little football phone, right? It was probably worth like $10. It ended up breaking the first month I had it. And so every week when my news magazine came in, I was reminded of that stupid football phone, right? But I got an entire year subscription because I got this little football phone. Okay, so with us, guys, the free stuff they get is something that's actually going to last. For example, with any set, they actually get the shears for free. You think that helps a little bit? Yeah, it's one of our most popular, most highly rated accessories and items they get for free with any one of our sets. And the other thing, guys, is we have sets of all different sizes. We have small sets for people that hate to cook. We have medium sets, which are for the average family. And then we have large sets for people that, like to cook or like to entertain. And we do actually have sets even bigger than that one. And those are the big dog sets. There's actually 4 different types of people that get our largest set. Okay. And we'll talk about that a little bit later today when we go over different options for customers, right? We have all the different options. So it doesn't matter what set they get, just as long as we help them get sets, right? Because they save money, they get free stuff, they get the right tool for the right job. And the 4th reason, which is kind of an underrated reason, is they actually get storage options for it. And they get something nice to kind of hold it all, carry it all, and keep it all clean and safe, right? It protects the knives. It also protects the customers, right? Because that way they're not throwing a whole bunch of sharp knives sitting in the drawer, right? So, so focusing on sets. Here's the other thing, though. Focusing on showing accessories, too. See, because we have all sorts of extra accessories. I know you were talking yesterday about people like to hunt and fish and camp and all that stuff, right? So what our top representatives do that do 10 to 15K is they really focus on helping customers to get sets and accessories, because we have all different sorts. In fact, if you take a look back here, I mean, we've got extra table knives, which are great for people that have big families or like to entertain. We've got all sorts of gadgets. Do any of you guys ever eat pizza, ice cream, open up cans, any of that stuff? Well, guess what? All of our customers do that too. And these accessories right here, they're great for themselves, but they're also really good to get as gifts. So some customers will actually get multiples of them so they can give them to their kids as gifts, right? We've got extra cheese knives, tons of outdoor knives and camping knives, right? These are really popular, especially down here in the South, right? Do any of you guys know people that hunt at all? Okay, well, our hunting knife will actually field dress 14 deer without needing to be resharpened. Yeah, pretty impressive, right?
Yeah.
In fact, even a $300 or $400 hunting knife, you usually have to sharpen it with every
field dress. Yeah.
Yeah, with every field dress, right? You have to sharpen it, right? Well, ours will actually field dress 14 without needing to be resharpened. We had one of our representatives, Cam Warwick, his granddad. He had one. He put a little notch in it every time he had a deer. He ended up getting to 20 before he sent it in to get resharpened, which is pretty cool, right? Okay. Our fishing knife, you guys already saw that in the interview. The thing's epic. Our garden tools. I mean, this just gives you an idea of how impressive our accessories are. Who's the strongest person in here? Or you do? No, okay, here you go, big guy. Try to bend that.
Well, yeah, that's not bending.
No, it's not.
That's
No, it's not happening.
thick gauge steel.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
it's not happening.
No. Yeah. So in fact, I had a representative named Kendall Baker. He was an offensive lineman for UGA. He's about 6'6", 330 pounds. He filled up that whole door frame, right? I gave it to him in training. He couldn't bend it. So if he can't bend it, I doubt anybody's going to be here, right? But yeah, that just gives you an idea of the quality of any and all of our accessories, right? So our barbecue tools are amazing. They're as long as my elbow to the end of my hand, so you can literally flip your neighbor's burgers if you needed to. So those things are pretty cool. So focusing on accessories. And here's something else that's cool. What I would write beside where you're taking notes here is if somebody gets a set, accessories become buy one, get one. You think that helps out a little bit? For sure, right? So I'm going to show you guys how that works a little bit later today. But so not only do they get a built-in savings on the set itself, they get extra free stuff for buying a set, and if they decide to add accessories to their order, they become buy one get one. So do you see why it's so good for a customer to get a set? Yeah, because they really get hooked up, right? And so in fact, it's very common for customers to save as much money as they're actually paying on a set. And then the other thing that's cool about getting sets is if they buy a set, any of our sets can be broken up over 5 months interest free. Think that makes it a little bit easier too? For sure. Okay. So that's the second key. The third key is going to be office communication. mean by office communication is we're going to be talking a ton, especially your first 10 days. The more we're talking, the better, right? And it's one of those things where, you're going to learn from every single appointment you do. You're going to learn something new. You're going to get better. Your skills are going to get better, right? But we're going to be talking before you go in to get you pumped up. We're going to be talking during to help you work out great deals for customers like friends and family hookups. But then we're also going to be talking a lot afterwards because every appointment you do, there's going to be something new that's going to come up that you'll have questions on. And so you'll continue to get better and better. But I've always found the people that are communicating with me the most, those tend to be the ones that do the best, okay? So if you want to be really successful, work with people that have already been successful, right? Mentorship. It's a big thing during your fast start if you want to do 10 or 15K. I'll work harder for your success than you will. Meaning, I'll talk to you first thing in the morning as early as you want, talk to you as late as you want, talking like 11 o'clock if necessary, to help you out. Okay, so office communication. If somebody's not here in the office, we'll have calls forwarded to us. So we're going to be helping you, coaching you, working with you to help you become the best version of you, right? Then the fourth thing is to have fun. If you want to do 10, 15K, you got to have fun. Right? Now, there's different ways you can have fun, but one of the best ways to have fun is to really get to know your customers, connect with them, try to find out interesting things about each customer when you meet with them, really care about each person you're working with. Cutting up food. That's always a lot of fun because when you see those customers' reactions, it's always eye-opening, right? Do any of you guys wear contact lenses? Okay, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But for a lot of customers, them using Cutco for the first time is the same way people that wear contacts feel the first time they could actually see. It's like, holy crap, I've been going my whole life with bad vision and I had no idea. And here we are. Right? That's how a lot of people feel the first time they use Cutco. So the more stuff you cut up, the more fun customers have, the more fun you have, the more successful you're going to be. Okay. So any questions on how to go for 10 to 15K fast start? No? Cool. So it starts with the why, and then it's just following through with the how, right? Simple formula, just staying on top of it. So what we're going to do is we are going to give you a little bit of time this morning to get some logistical things done, like filling out stuff for your paycheck. We're going to help you guys get your sample kit. But then we're also going to give you a little bit of time to get additional appointments booked up to help you hit whatever your goals are, okay? And to make it a little more interesting, what we'll do is every single appointment you book up this morning, we're going to give you a ticket, and somebody's going to get free lunch. Somebody's going to get free Jimmy John's today. That sound good? Sweet. So let's get everybody signed in. We're going to help you guys out with that. And then we'll get jumped with the new material.